Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Beeves Reads. I'm Ryan Van Beber, and I just want to say welcome to the first chapter of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Today I'll be reading chapter 1 of The Count of Monte Cristo, Bantam Press Edition, out of 73 chapters. I ask first before I read that you please like and subscribe to Beeves Reads so you can get caught up on all of the chapters of The Count of Monte Cristo. And with that being said, let's get right into the reading. Chapter 1. On February 24th, 1815, the watchtower at Marseille signaled the arrival of the three-master Pharaon, coming from Smyrna, Trieste, and Naples. The quay was soon covered with the usual crowd of curious onlookers, for the arrival of a ship is always a great event in Marseille, especially when, like the Pharaon, a great event and rigged. No, it has been built, rigged, and laden in the city, belongs to a local ship owner. Meanwhile, the vessel was approaching the harbor under topsails, jib, and foresail, but so slowly and with such an air of melancholy that the onlookers, instinctively sensing misfortune, began to wonder what accident could have happened on board. However, the experienced seamen among them saw that if there had been an accident, it could not have happened to the ship herself, for she had every appearance of being under perfect control. Standing beside the pilot, who was preparing to steer the Pharaon through the narrow entrance of the harbor, was a young man who, with vigilant eyes and rapid gestures, watched every movement of the ship and repeated each of the pilot's orders. The vague anxiety hovering over the crowd affected one man so much that he could not wait until the ship entered the harbor. He leaped into a small boat and ordered the boatman to row him out to meet the Pharaoh. When he saw this man coming toward him, the young sailor left his post beside the pilot and walked over to the side of the ship, holding his hat in his hand. He was a tall, slender young man, no more than 20 years old, with dark eyes and hair as black as ebony. His whole manner gave evidence of that calmness and resolution peculiar to those who have been accustomed to facing danger ever since their childhood. "Ah, it's you, Dante!" cried the man in the boat. "What happened? Why does everything look so gloomy on board?" "A great misfortune, Monsieur Morel," replied the young man. "We lost our brave Captain Leclerc off Saint-Valéry." "What about the cargo?" asked the ship owner eagerly. "It arrived safely, Monsieur Morel, and I think you'll be satisfied on the score. But poor Captain Leclerc, what happened to him?" asked the ship owner, visibly relieved. "He died of brain fever in horrible agony. He's now at rest at the Isle of Giglio, sewed up in his hammock with one cannonball at his head and another at his feet." The young man smiled sadly and added, "How ironic. He waged war against the English for 10 long years and then died in his bed like anyone else." "Well, we're all mortal," said the ship owner, "and the old must make way for the young, otherwise there would be no promotion." As they were passing the round tower, the young sailor called out, "Make ready to lower topsails, foresail, and jib." The order was executed as smartly as on board a man-of-war. "Lower away and brail all!" At this last order, all the sails were lowered and the ship's speed became almost imperceptible. "And now, if you'd like to come aboard, Monsieur Morel," said Dante, seeing the ship owner's impatient, "you can talk to your purser, Monsieur Danglars, who's just coming out of his cabin. He can give you all the information you want. As for myself, I must look forward to after the anchoring and dress the ship in mourning." The ship owner did not wait to be invited twice. He grasped the line which Dante threw at him, and with an agility that would have done credit to the sailor, climbed up the ladder attached to the ship's side. Dante returned to his duties, while Danglars came out to meet Monsieur Morel. The purser was a man of 25 or 26 with a rather melancholy face, obsequious to his superiors and arrogant to his subordinates. He was as much disliked by the crew as Edmond Dante was liked by them. Well, Monsieur Morel, said Danglars, I suppose you're here of our misfortune? Yes, I have, poor Captain Leclerc. He was brave and honorable man, and an excellent seaman, too, grown old between the sky and the water as a man should be when he's entrusted with the interests of such an important firm as Morel and Son. But, said the ship owner, watching Dante preparing to drop the anchor, it seems to me a man doesn't have to be too old to do his work well, Danglars. Our friend Edmond there doesn't look like as though he needs advice from anyone. Yes, said Danglars, casting Dante a glance full of hatred. He's young and he has no doubts about anything. As soon as the captain was dead, he took command without consulting anyone, and he made us lose a day and a half at the Isle of Elba instead of coming straight back to Marseille. As for taking command, said the ship owner, it was his duty as first mate, but he was wrong to waste a day and a half at the Isle of Elba unless the ship needed some sort of repair. The ship was as sound as I am, and as I hope you are, Monsieur Morel. Wasting that day and a half was nothing but a whim of his. He just wanted to go ashore for a while, that's all. Dante, son Morel. Tony told the young man, come here, please. Excuse me, sir. I'll be with you in a moment, said Dante. Then turning to his crew, he called out, let's go! The anchor dropped immediately, and the chain rattled noisily. Dante walked out over to Morel. I walked to ask you why you stopped at the Isle of Elba. It was to carry out an order for Captain Leclerc. As he was dying, he gave me a package to deliver to Marshal Bertrand there. Did you see him, Edmond? Yes. Morel looked around and drew Dante off to one side. How is the Emperor? He asked eagerly. He is well, as far as I could tell. He's came into the Marshal's room while I was there. Did you talk to him? No, he talked to me, said Dante, smiling. What did he say? He asked me about the ship, when it had left from Marseille, what route it had taken, and what cargo it was carrying. I think that if the ship had been empty, and I had been its owner, he would have tried to buy it from me, but I told him I was only the first mate and that it belonged to the firm of Morel and Son. I know that firm, he said. The Morels have been ship owners for generations, and there was a Morel in my regiment when I garrisoned at Valence. That's true, exclaimed Morel, delighted. It was Policar Morel, my uncle. He later became captain. Then, giving Dante a friendly tap on the shoulder, he said, you were quite right to follow Captain Leclerc's instructions and stop at the Isle of Elba, although you might get into trouble if it is become known that you gave the Marshal a package and spoke to the Emperor. How could it get me into trouble? Asked Dante. I don't know, even know what was in the package. And the Emperor only asked me the same question he would have asked any other newcomer. But, excuse me for a moment, sir. I see the Health and Customs officer coming on board. Danglars stepped up as the young man walked away. Well, he said, he seems to have given you some good reasons for a stopover. He gave me excellent reasons, Monsieur Danglars. That's good. It's always painful to see a friend fail to do his duty. Dante did his duty well, replied the ship owner. It was Captain Leclerc who ordered the stopover. Speaking of Captain Leclerc, didn't Dante give you a letter from him? No, was there one? I thought Captain Leclerc gave him a letter long ago with a package. What package, Danglars? Why, the one Dante delivered to the Isle of Elba. How do you know he delivered a package there? Danglars flushed. The captain's door was ajar when I was passing by, he said, and I saw him give Dante a package and a letter. He didn't say anything to me about it, but if he has the letter, I'm sure he'll give it to me. Danglars was silent for a moment. Then he said, Monsieur Morel, please don't mention it to Dante. I must have been mistaken. Just then, Dante returned and Danglars walked away. Well, Dante, have you finished now? Yes, sir. Then you will come to dinner with us. Please excuse me, Monsieur Morel, but I think I owe my first visit to my father. Just the same, I'm grateful for the honor of your invitation. You're right, Dante. You're a good son. But we'll be expecting you after you visited your father. Excuse me, Monsieur Morale, but after that first visit, there's another one that's equally important to me. Oh yes, I was forgetting that there's someone who must be waiting for you as impatiently as your father. The beautiful Mercedes. You're a lucky man, Edmund, and you have a very pretty mistress. She's not my mistress, sir, said the young sailor gravely. She's my fiancée. That's sometimes the same thing, said Morel, laughing. Not with us, sir, replied Dante. Well, I won't keep you any longer. You've taken care of my affairs so well that I want to give you as much time as possible to take care of your own. Do you have anything else you want to tell me? No. Didn't Captain Leclerc give you a letter for me before he died? He was unable to write, sir, but that reminds me that I must ask you for 2 weeks' leave. To get married? First of all, and then go to Paris. Very well, take as long as you like, Dante. It will take at least 6 weeks to unload the cargo, and we won't be ready to put to the sea before another 3 months or so. But in 3 months, you will have to be here. The Pharaon, continued the ship owner, patting the young sailor on the shoulder, can't leave without her captain. Without her captain, cried Dante, his eyes flashing with joy. Do you really intend to make me captain of the Pharaon? If I was alone, my dear Dante, I'd shake your hand and say it's done, but I have a partner, and you know the Italian proverb, he who has a partner has a master. And the thing is, at least half done. Though, since you already have 1 vote out of 2, leave it to me to get the other one. I'll do my best. Oh, Monsieur Morale, cried Dante, grasping the ship owner's hands with tears in his eyes. I thank you in the name of my father and of Mercedes. That's all right, Edmund. Go see your father, go see Mercedes, then come back to see me. Don't you want me to take you ashore? No thanks. I'll stay on board and look over the accounts with Danglars. Were you satisfied with him during the trip? That depends on how you mean the question, sir. If you're asking me if I was satisfied with him as a comrade, the answer is no. I think he disliked me ever since the day we had a little quarrel and I was foolish enough to suggest that we stop for 10 minutes at the Isle of Monte Cristo to settle it. A suggestion which I was wrong to make and which he was right to refuse. But if you're speaking of him as a purser, I think there's nothing to be said against them and that you'll be quite satisfied with the way he's done his work. If you were captain of the Pharaon, would you be glad to keep him? Whether I'm captain or first mate, Monsieur Morale, replied Dante, I'll always have great respect for those who have the confidence of my ship owners. Good, Dante. I see you're a fine young man in every way, but don't let me hold you back any longer. I can see how anxious you are to leave. May I take your skiff? Certainly. Goodbye, Monsieur Morale, and thank you for the bottom of my heart. The young sailor leaped into the skiff and sat down into the stern, giving orders to be rowed to the Canabière. Smiling, the ship owner watched him until he saw him jump ashore, after which he was immediately swallowed up into the crowd. When he turned around, Morel saw Danglars standing behind him and following the young sailor's movements. But there was a great difference in the expression of the two men as they both watched Edmond Dante. End of chapter 1.